Welcome Virgo to your in-depth monthly horoscope for October 2023. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some standout details to look out for, but please stay with me. I will explore in much greater depth all the ins and outs, particularly relevant to your sign. Now, Mercury is your ruler, and it's going to be moving through 3 zodiac signs this month. It leaves your sign, where it's been since the end of July, through that extended retrograde season. It joins with Libra on the 5th, but it makes its way into the sign of Scorpio on the 22nd. But the other thing to tell you is that Mercury forges a magnificent cazimi with the Sun on the 20th, but also links with the potent energies of Mars on the 29th. We do, of course, also have 2 eclipses this month, so much exciting information to share with you. I'd just like to share a very exciting opportunity with you. If you order your year 2024 personal horoscope forecast now, based on your personal birth data, I'll prepare for you the rest of year 2023 free of charge. Plus, in my special 30% off package, you can get your character analysis report, your life roadmap. This will give you searing insights into the patterns that have played out in your life so far, but give you a much more intimate understanding of how to make the most of these. Please see beneath this video for more. And finally, if you've yet to watch your year 2024 zodiac forecast, please see the link below where you can do so for free. So Virgo, as you make your way into October, so the Sun and Mars are in your 2nd house, very much to do with everyday money, but also to do with our relationship to our self-worth. Mars is a feisty influence, and it gives you a lot of impetus because it's linking beautifully to Venus. Now, Venus has gone through that extended journey since the 5th of June through the sign of Leo, which has included that retrograde. So I feel that there has been quite a lot of psychological stuff going on around your relationships, but perhaps also around some financial situations. Things haven't been moving forwards at quite the speed you would like. So Mercury moving on the 5th into your 2nd solar house can be a trigger to start to see the benefits of a lot of hard work that's been going on of late. But also on the 9th, Venus is going to be arriving in your sign. So a lot of that reflection that's been going on over the last 2 or 3 months, with such a collection of energy in the sign of Leo, your 12th house, does come to a close. But you know, before Venus arrives in your sign, it's actually forging a beautiful angle to Mars. And it's possible that some of the research you've been doing, or the behind the scenes conversations, the soundings you've been taking, or perhaps it is linking with someone in a romantic context in a low-key way, can start to firm up and see you come into the moment on the 9th with a sense of anticipation. Ironically, if there has been a relationship issue that's been rumbling along in the background over the last 3 or 4 months, it may actually come up to the boil on the 9th. And one of the reasons for this, Virgo, is that Mars is going to clash with Pluto from the 3rd through to the 12th. Mars in the 2nd house, Pluto in the 5th. The 5th house is very much about our romantic desires, but also about our appreciation of the joys of life. And if your values, the 2nd house, are not meshing with someone in a romantic context, and there has been a lot of thinking or discussion, or perhaps another person has come into the equation in one way or another on your side or the other person's side, by the 9th, as Venus moves into your sign, it brings you into the moment, but it also is opposed by the strict energies of Saturn. And if you're not happy with the status quo or how things have panned out, by the 10th, you can really assert that unhappiness in a very profound way. Now, Venus in your sign in a technical context is in its fall, so it's not its most glittering location, but it's very responsible. And I think having Saturn opposing Venus really makes you much more conscious of, can I do business with this other person? And it could be in a commercial situation, some kind of professional relationship, as much as a personal one. But that does bring to an end a 4-month journey of Venus through your 12th house. And I think you would agree that if you go back to the 5th of June, your relationship to your relationships has shifted. Even if the same person or the same people are still in your world, you've learnt an awful lot about some of your perhaps sensitivities, your anxieties, the more vulnerable parts of your nature, or you've met someone and cultivated a relationship, perhaps in a clandestine or confidential way during that period of time. But the 11th sees Pluto go direct. It went retrograde on the 1st of May, initially in the part of your situation to do with your work and health. So if from the 1st of May through to the 11th of June, there was a time when you weren't feeling at your best, it wouldn't be an entire surprise. But since then, it's been back into that 5th house. So I think Pluto going forwards here and emerging from the square with Mars is going to be helpful. Also on the 12th, Mars moves out of Libra, where it is detrimented, and into the zodiac sign that it governs of Mars, the traditional ruler. But for you, this is the 3rd house. 3rd house energy is very quick moving, energetic. It's about ideas, can be about everyday conversations, text messages, emails. Mars, of course, is a very physical influence, so you may actually want to be more active. One of the downsides of Mars moving through your 2nd house, along with the location of the Sun, is that maybe your appreciation of calorific goodies has shot up somewhat. So Mars now gives you the impetus to get a little bit more active and to try to be a little bit more on the move. But I should just tell you that when we're talking about relationships, Black Moon Lilith has also for the last 9 months been in your 12th house. So on the 3rd, it moves into your sign. So your individual charisma is boosted not just by the arrival of Venus, but also Lilith too. Now Lilith in Virgo has a preference for things being very organised, very sanitised, clean sheets, well-made beds, all those kind of things, which you may have an appreciation for as a Virgo, not automatically. I feel it is a bit of a lazy archetype for your sign, but you certainly have an appreciation of understanding the parts of your existence that work well for you. But Lilith in the 12th house may have seen a lot of soul searching, or maybe those discreet meetups. But now Lilith moving into your own sign is seeing you demanding more recognition for you as an individual in your own right. And what Mars does by moving into Scorpio is help you to articulate your value and your ideas in a much more passionate way. The 14th, however, does see that solar eclipse, the first in a series between the sign of Libra and the sign of Aries. For you, emphasising again your resources, what's not to like? Well, it's just there's a quincunx, which is a tense angle, to Uranus, the planet that can be rather erratic, and that's in your 9th house of escape, adventure and independence. The 2nd house is very much about keeping things very steady, reliable and safe. So if over the next 6 months you are tempted by a business idea, or you want to be more entrepreneurial, I wouldn't be too rash with your resources. Doesn't mean to say your idea can't play out well. You just need to be aware that Uranus can see us do things very speedily, but also very hastily. And sometimes it's better to slow things down and really appraise all the odds. And that's what the solar eclipse in the 2nd house can actually be very good for. But Mercury in your 2nd house clashes with Pluto from the 19th to the 21st. There may be someone in a romantic context that you want to spoil rotten. There could be an idea or an item that you want, particularly to do with technology, to be honest. And you may feel rather impulsive with Mercury squaring up with Pluto. But then on the 22nd, Mercury moves into the sign of Scorpio. I like Mercury in Scorpio. It's very analytical. It can hear conversations, but has a tremendous ability to actually decipher actually what's meant. So it's a very shrewd influence, and it's joined by the Sun on the 23rd, also joining with Mars, of course. So we have a collective in your third house. What I can guarantee to you is that the pace of life is really going to skyrocket. There's also a terrific link between the Sun and Saturn from the 24th to the 27th. If you are collaborating with someone that you do feel there is that simpatico, that understanding of where each of you come from, and it makes each of you feel very supported and secure, that can mean some very constructive conversations. So if you are in business, that could be a good time to meet up with a new service provider or a new client, or apply for a job and go through the interview process. That brings us to the last week of the month, but I've yet to tell you about that Cazimi which occurred on the 20th. So if you have got an idea that really does stand out to you and you really want to amplify it and convey the idea to others, the 20th is a great day to do it, because the Sun's energy is going to amp up the brilliance of Mercury anyway. You could find yourself feeling really quite ingenious. It's just that square with Pluto just says don't be too impulsive within the ingenuity. But then we have Mercury moving into an opposition with Jupiter, which I think actually can be quite fortunate. And it's really likely that if you're someone who's yet to have a vacation or a holiday, that you're going to try and break out and do something more spontaneous in the last week of this month. You won't be sitting on your hands, and if there is a place that you'd like to go to, you can really pull out all the stops to make it happen. But it could happen quite quickly and last minute, and there could be a sense of excitement and sparkle. But also, if you're someone who likes to flutter, I think the end of this month suggests that your confidence could actually pay off you really handsomely. So do maintain a conviction in your ideas at this part of the month. But that does see on the 28th of the last of the eclipse series across the signs of Taurus and Scorpio. It's actually in the 9th house of Taurus for you. Again, that desire to be much more fluid in what you do towards the end of this month. Maybe it won't be a travel plan that grabs you so much as learning a new language, learning more about astrology, signing up for some kind of digital course, or even trying to get into at an academic institution last minute. There can be a lot of buzzy, lively information whipping back and forwards that really can be very, very stimulating for you as this month comes to a close. So to recap, Virgo, the first half of this month is very much about resources, and that's going to be influenced over the next 6 months by the location of that solar eclipse. The 9th house energy that comes from the lunar eclipse can see you, along with Uranus, really keen to be very spontaneous, but you're someone who's very, very studious in terms of working out the pros and cons of situations, and don't stop doing that. I think it's important to stay with your instincts in that regard. But there is a very enterprising energy at the end of this month that I feel will really see you encountering some sparkly people, having some buzzy conversations. You may even have some outright disagreements because the philosophy section of your chart is clashing with the more immediate communicational sector, the 3rd house, and having Mercury come together with Mars in an exact conjunction on the 29th means that if you feel strongly about something, you're really going to stand up that in a discussion. But it's also important to understand the things that are worth arguing over, and if you aren't going anywhere on a journey where you're personally driving, just be aware that Mercury conjunct Mars can make us a bit impetuous, a bit impatient to make things happen quickly. If you can, just relax, take the back road, enjoy the journey, the scenic route, and don't be too caught up with being too competitive, even with yourself, about trying to get to your destination very quickly. But generally the end of this month is just full of promise and excitement for you. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Virgo. Please remember to check out your year 2024 deep dive astrology and horoscope forecast that's underneath this video. But for now, stay safe, take care. Please like, share, comment or subscribe.